Hello there, people of the internet. Consider the following scenario. Completely hypothetical, but I'd like you to consider it nonetheless. It is 2025. I am a World War II veteran, or maybe a Korean veteran, and I think that scary black rifles have absolutely no part in the hands of civilians in the United States. And I choose to stick with wood stock rifles because they are all I know, and I do not want to know anything else. Well, I don't know. 5 gunmen are robbing a bank, and they decide to themselves it becomes a suicide mission because they're crazy. They decided to go ahead and start just knocking out some of these civilians, taking out the hostages. And you are right outside, you grab your M1 carbine from your car because it is what you decide to use to defend yourself with. Probably wouldn't be this, I hear. If you have that kind of mindset, it would probably be an M1 Garand or something. But just stick with me on this. You decide to grab what it is that you are very familiar with and that you know best, and you don't know anything else, so you grab this M1 carbine, you run into the bank. You got your guy standing there at the front of the bank, making sure that none of the hostages can run away. You take him out immediately, right? You just, bam, he's on the ground. Now that you've shot, all these other bank robbers know that, that you are there. Well, you have your trusty, dusty, come on baby, M1 carbine. So they start firing at you, you take him and you start firing at them, and lo and behold, oh no, my M1 carbine is no longer functioning. Oh God, what do I do? Try to fix it. You know, anyone who's ever played with an M1 carbine knows that trying to fix these with a malfunction can be a little bit on the sketchier side, and you are being shot at. You are being fired upon while you're trying to get your rifle going. Anyone in that kind of scenario would likely just throw the M1 carbine to the side. Watch me throw this M1 carbine. Very gingerly set it on the ground. Alright, so anyone in that situation would likely throw the M1 carbine to the side and pick up the scary black rifle that the gunman at the door had that got taken out by your M1 carbine. You know, I'm surprised that M1 carbine actually ran those 2 rounds properly. I was expecting it to fail, but it did not in this particular case. Well, you pick up, you know, mind you, you're 80 years old at this point. You don't know how this thing works. You pick it up, you start looking at it, you're like, how the hell am I supposed to fight these guys with this thing? You know to aim and pull the trigger. So you aim, you pull the trigger, nothing happens. You're like, what the hell? There's a light on this thing. It's not on. How do I turn this on? How do I cock this thing? I don't know anything about these scary black rifles. You never familiarized yourself with different weapon platforms. As a result, you are in this situation and you have no idea how to cock this thing or send rounds downrange. Not with any sort of real effectiveness. Maybe the safety is engaged, you don't know where the safety is. You would spend more time trying to figure this thing out than you would spend trying to unjam your M1 carbine. I did have a little bit of jam there at first. That one was pretty easy to clear away, but if you have a rifle like that and it jams, normally because of the magazines and whatnot, if you have a rifle like that and it jams, they can be a little on the challenging side to unjam. And if it is all you know, then it is all you know. Now, those that are going to complain that the M1 carbine is not challenging at all to unjam, do that while in a firefight. Actually, if you're complaining about that, you probably have done that in a firefight. Do that in a firefight with this modern technology. If you find yourself in that kind of situation, familiarize, at least know how they work, the modern weapons that you are likely going to run in and come across in your modern everyday activities. If you have somebody shooting up some other place, they're probably not going to have an M1 carbine. They're likely going to have some sort of modern style rifle. It is important to at least know how these things function, so if you end up needing to use one, you can. Now, that was a completely hypothetical situation and way off, you know, way off in the field. I wanted to just tell an entertaining story. The likelihood of you coming across one of these And if this is all you know, this is all you know. The likelihood of you coming across one of these in modern combat is way less likely than you coming across a scary black rifle. Probably a good idea to know how to use this, whether you approve of them or not, whether you want to own one or not, at least somewhat know how it is that they function. Now, the same can be said, not like this right here is just examples. This is not me saying this specific thing right here. Here's another example. You are 65 years old. You grew up in Nevada, and your father was a Western cowboy, his grandfather. So you grew up to be a Western cowboy as well. Your main choice of weapon is a single action .357 Magnum revolver, right? Well, you go to church one Sunday morning, and nothing bad happens at church because it's God's house, and it is in a small town, never have to worry about it. Well, 22-year-old Joe Blow over there is depressed at the world and decides to take it out on some people that have absolutely nothing to do with the world that he destroyed. So he stands up and starts popping rounds into the crowd of churchgoers, and you don't have your gun because, hey, you went to church. I don't know why you don't have your gun, but you don't have your gun. So your buddy that you're with ends up pulling out one of those plastic Tupperware guns and tosses it over to you, says, here, I got 2 of these. I don't know why he has 2 of those. Here, I got 2 of these. Go ahead and use one. To be fair, a lot of times I carry 2 guns as well. I have a pocket pistol and my main carry gun, just in case one goes down, or if I'm with somebody, they can also become an asset in whatever it is that I'm dealing with. But that's a whole other story. That's actually a good idea for a video. I'll go more in depth on that later. So he tosses you a Tupperware gun and you're like, what the hell is this? This isn't steel. This doesn't even have a hammer. How do I use this? Whenever you're dealing with modern situations, whether or not it is something that you think people should have, they're gonna have it. Your opinion on it doesn't matter. They're going to have it. If somebody is looking to do harm to other people, they're going to have what it is that you think that they should not have. Whether or not you want it, that's a whole other story. You can have whatever it is that you want. They can have whatever it is that they want, and they will go around to getting it. You need to familiarize yourself with what these other people might have and what they might be using, because you yourself might be using something just like that, especially because these other things that a lot of other people want absolutely nothing to do with and they have no idea how it functions or how it works. If you find yourself in a situation where these types of equipment are the most common types of equipment out there that are going to be used in these kind of situations, you're going to want to know how to use that. The odds of you coming across something like that are way, way higher than you think in these kind of situations. No one's going to, well, strike that. It might happen. The likelihood of somebody tossing you a lever action .30-30 in a combat situation is way less likely than somebody tossing you an AR-15 in a combat situation. Maybe in your circle that's less the case. Maybe you in your circle have just this crew of deer hunters and each of you has a .30-30 in your car. I don't know. It varies specifically. But the likelihood of you running into something like that versus something like this in a situation that requires you to take care of business is way more likely to come across something like this. And if you do show up with your Woodstock whatever the hell and you run out of ammo, or it goes down, stops functioning, or XYZ thing happens and this right here is no longer usable, but hey, that guy you just took out has one of these scary black rifles on him, pick that up, know how to use it. That is just my recommendation, and I want to hear what people have to say about it. Also, I thought that this right here would be a fun video because I get to make up random stories that are like 1 in a million chance that they're ever going to happen, but I thought it was going to be a really cool time. So that's exactly what it is that I decided to do. Not only that, but I got to come out here and blast some rounds down to my steel. I did some rapid fire with my AR there. I'm trying to get faster at my follow-up shots, and by the looks of my target down there, I did pretty decent with that. Granted, I had a red dot on it, but I still did pretty decent with that. I figure if I'm making content, I may as well train while I'm at it. Anyway, folks, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Obviously, I've talked about this before. Pick a main weapon platform. Get to know that really, really, really well. but I highly recommend, can I help you? I highly recommend that you at least become familiar with how other weapon platforms work as well. If somebody tosses you a Tupperware gun and you have to use that to fight for your life, I recommend that you at least know how it functions, how to rack the slide, how to disengage the safety, how to line up your sights, and how to properly shoot that thing. You should probably know how to, clear it, fix a jam and whatnot. I don't know how many times I've had people out here at the range where a gun jams and they hand it off to me and they're like, oh, it's not shooting, fix it. Every time. No, I'm not gonna fix it. I'm gonna teach you how to fix it. I'm gonna show you what is wrong here and how to get back into shooting. So that's just something that I do for the most part. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, disgusting psychopaths that find my content entertaining. Like I said, I want to hear what you guys have to say. That being said, if you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel. I do this kind of stuff all the time, as you can see from the car down there. About time for me to clear out those weeds though, because the car is becoming completely swallowed. Comments down below. I'm sure that you guys are going to tell me everything that you want to know or that you want me to know. Like the video if you like the video. That helps out with the algorithm. What else? Description down below has a link to all sorts of stuff, including an email list. Go check that out. That is my just in case situation, sort of. So if you want to stay in my little circle, that is definitely a good way to go to. Okay, I don't really know what else to add into this video, so I'm just going to say, hey folks, thanks for watching. You guys go off, have a fantastic day. Since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. Shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.